Okay, so the front page is 15.1, and we still haven't learned yet, thank you, how to manage the different bases if you don't have a Casio calculator. But if you get yourself that Casio calculator, maybe that'll make the go a little bit lighter. There we go. The Casio calculator, you just plug it in and get the answer out. But if you remember for 15.1, you create an equation and then write it in exponential form. 5 to what power is 25? Then you can, check it on your calculator to see if 2 is the right answer. So you just pop it in there. And you know you're right. Okay? So that's this front page. So you're just finding the correct exponent. Because remember, the answer to a log question is an exponent. The answer is an exponent. Okay, so set it equal to x. See it as 7 to the x is 49. If you remember, negative exponents make reciprocals. So they're not going to get us 49 up. So some of these are simple, some of them are a little more challenging. 7 to the x is 343. Oh man, I can't put it in correctly. And so I test, you can test all of them, but 3 is the first one I would test and it comes true. You save yourself some time if you are a good, if you have some number sense with that. Okay? Remember what an exponent means. 2 to what power is 4? So back to pretty simple again. Five's a little more challenging. You might not know this right away unless you remember our little rule about exponents. 7 to what power is 1? So you could test these, but remember any number to the 0 power gives you 1 as the result. Check that out. So that's a good, different one anyway. Set it equal to x. 4 to what power is 64? So positive 3 power. Check it in the calculator. Looks like the test creator kept the numbers pretty small. It might be a little tricky. 4 to what power is 1/16? So here, a little number sense. Negative exponents make reciprocals. So if I start with a whole number and I want to get a fraction, that means it's going to be one of the negatives. And 4 squared is 16, so you can check it in your calculator. Hopefully y'all got 15.1 done on the homework. If you don't, go back and finish that, because we will get done here in the review of plenty of time. So 4 to what power is 16? Simple again. Okay, remember what the power means. How many factors of 4? So don't let that fool you, and for heaven's sakes, take the time to check it on your calculator. All good on the front page. Any comments, questions, concerns? You know, if you're a Casio, you're good. The rest of us aren't, but that's okay. In the next module, you'll learn how to put this in this calculator to be able to get the answer out. Okay, so here is our 15.2 that we went through together. Just finished up yesterday. So we know what to look for in order to find the transformation. And the software in this test, all A's were 1. All the numbers in front were 1. So that doesn't always happen, as you know from your homework. A could be anything, but it's that number being multiplied in front of the logarithm function. So that here A is 1. We find B is the base of the log. In this case is 2. So every one of our questions could have a different B. H is what's being subtracted from X. So H is crazy. Right? And K is what's being added outside of the log function, and that is 2. And we apply our formulas from our notes, which you're more than welcome to use, but we can write them down here again. These guys right here. Okay. Got them all messy with colors. My first one is I take 1 plus my H and then my K. So that's 1 plus H is a negative 1, and K is 2. That'll be my first reference point. And the next reference point is B plus H and A plus K. I'm getting that from our note sheet. So B plus H is 0, A plus K is 3. There's my second reference point. And first or last, whenever you want to figure it out, your asymptote is your H number. So mine has an vertical asymptote at X equals a negative 2. So doing at all that scratch, what I need to look for. So I need X equals negative 2. So obviously B isn't, that's X equals 2. Okay. And D is out, because that's X equals 2. So I'm looking for either one I can look for, or both, should be both. Negative 1, 2 is here. 0, 3 is here. So A is my graph. So if I just figured this one, I got my right graph, but you got to be careful. You got to know how to figure them all. So just in case there were two graphs with the same first reference point, you can differentiate between the two. And again, all these, they do not reflect. So they'll all be looking like a logarithmic curve that's just been moved around on the graph. They haven't been stretched, they haven't been reflected, they haven't been compressed. So that keeps it a little simpler, but if you know how to do this, that's what I want you to be able to understand for this module. You just peel it, it's just like you read it. A is 1, B is the little 4, H is a positive 1. That's where you might make a mistake, but it'll come up because none of the graphs will fit your answers, And it might have been because you didn't make H crazy. And K is 4. So 1 plus H and K, 2, 4. B plus H and A plus K. That's 5, 5. Asymptote is my H number, so it is 1. A is out, C is out. The asymptote's at a -1. So now I'm looking at 2, 4, and 5, 5. 2, 4, 5. 5 is right here, 5 is right there. So B is my correct transform graph. Logarithmic functions. Very powerful piece of information there. If your data fits this function, bam, you can predict the future of whatever it is you're studying. Nice. So they really chopped logarithms into nice little chunks. We had this module, which just uses evaluate and graph, and then the next module will be dealing with the log laws. So we tasted a little bit of that, but not much. Okay, A is 1, B is the little 4, H is a +1, and yeah, K can be 0. Right? What's being added out here? If you don't see it, it's 0. Where do I get my A? It's the multiplier in front. If you don't see it, it's a 1. Apply our reference points. So I'm looking for 2, 0. B plus H, A plus K. And then X equals H is X equals 1. So always get rid of the graphs that don't have the right asymptote. And I look for 2, 0. So A is not the right graph because 2, 0 isn't on the curve. So I look for 2, 0 and 5, 1. There it is. How's your brain? Thinking this stuff through? Okay. A is 1. B is the little 3. H is negative. So where you're probably going to make a mistake on this straightforward ideas, you will get the wrong sign for H, so watch out. One plus H and K as a reference point. B plus H and A plus K is the second reference point. Watch your arithmetic. And then I have X equals H will give me X equals -1. A is out of the game, and so is D. They don't have the right asymptotes. So between these two, I have to look for 0, -5, and that's this one's 0, 5. So right there, if you 2, -4. So if you get signs wrong, you know, you might be fooled. Might be fooled. Okay. It's like a recipe. I love it. I love it. We're standing on the shoulders of giants, people that's proven that when you know these characteristics on a graph, you can sketch the transformation. And, you know, that's what they did for years and decades and centuries before we had the technology that gives it to us on a silver platter. Okay, so I'm going to do 1 plus H. Okay. I'm going to do B plus H They're right next to each other in my list. A plus K is on the edges. B plus A is 5. A plus K is 2. Getting the rhythm of the beat. My favorite thing. X equals H, so X equals 1. Okay, so B is out and D is out. Those are at a negative 1. So I go 2 over 1 up, 5 over 2 up. A wins the game. 2 over 1 up on C doesn't show on the curve. So you know you get the right one. I can almost draw a dot. That's pretty bad. There's my mark there. Okay. See if you get the same thing I have. Make sure your H is the right sign. That's the one that's a pickle. Okay. I'm going to do 1 plus H. Why change it if it works, right? 1 plus H, that's a 2. And K is a 3. B plus H, A plus K. 7 and 4. Then X equals H means X equals 1. So there's my asymptote. B is out, C is out. I have to find 2 over 3 up. So it's not on A. So 2 over 3 up, and for the next one I go 7 over 4 up. And it's still on the graph, so that's good. It didn't fool us. Now when I ran this to the copy machine, I had my last page turned backwards. So you have it blank, and then you turn the page. Sorry. To the last 2. There we go. So sorry about that. I think the tests are right. Okay, we got 2 negatives there. Right, H is negative and K is negative. Righty? 1 plus H. Okay. Do your math, right? B plus H and A plus K. 1 and negative 4. Right? 1 plus H and K. 4 minus 3 is 1. 1 minus 5 is a negative 4. X is the H number, which happens to be a negative 3. So I'm looking for negative asymptote. Negative 3. It gets rid of some graphs. And now I have to find negative 2, negative 5. I see it here. Let's see about C. Negative 2, negative 5. Nope, it misses it on C. So check the other one. 1, negative 4, sure enough. Which makes sense. They moved it to the left and down, and that's what your logarithm function looks like now. Yay. Oh, yay, yay, yay. Finding a challenge of a sort. A is still 1. But remember this ln symbol is another way of saying it's log base E. So in the calculator, instead of having a log base E button, they tag it with ln. So the little b is 2.718. If you remember that from the homework, we're gonna, you have to round it sometime because it's a repeating decimal. but you're going to use this, probably would be a safe value to use in your formulas, right? Because I got to get H. H is a positive 1, K is a positive 1. And I do my story, 1 plus H and K. That's 2 and 1. And then B plus H and A plus K. That's 3.718 and 2. So at about 3 3¾ on that for this point. Hopefully this one's good enough. Will get us what we want, so it doesn't make us crazy. X equals H, which means X equals 1. My first graph finder. So these two are out. My blue is fading. I've got another blue. Green is there. Okay. My green is strong and good and brave and kind. There we go. Okay, so I'm looking at, I don't know, it looks pretty shifty. I might have to go to a pen. There we go. These two, they've got X equals 1. So now I'm going to look for 2 over 1 up. So that's not on C. 2 over 1 up is on D. And it should be 3.72. So if I look at, okay, look at the 2 for the Y. It's right like in there. See how that is? This is the 3.7 here, and that's the 2. So we know that's good. Because that obvious one wasn't on C, I can, with great confidence, pick the graph D. So there you go. Don't lose that. Finish your homework, ponder these thoughts of the universe, and be ready to test on Monday. I know it's hard to test on Monday, but if you have to test on Monday, this isn't bad facts, right?